again, we'll call our meeting to order. Start the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have roll call, please, Maureen.
Mr. Cranes?
Here.
Mrs. Medina? Here. Mrs. Rail? Here. Mrs. Head? Here. Mr. Bevel?
Here. Thank you, Maureen. So we'll do the student representatives report. Carissa?
At our fire and ice dance, Drake Blossfield and Grace Hartman were the ice princess and ice prince, and we had the best attendance we've ever had. And the donations towards the dance are all going towards Matt Stoltz for his Biking for Baseball. And the spring seasons are starting, which include baseball, softball, boys tennis, track and field, and girls soccer. Also, Tia Dorhurst was the first person in Lincoln High School history to score first at state. The ACT and the work keys test was given to all juniors last week. We are having a penny war to raise money for Ashley Kaufman, who is a girl in the senior class who has cancer, and the money is going towards her chemo treatment. Our rated wrestlers competed in individual state tournament this weekend. Cody Abel, Peyton Einerson, Matrix Jazowski, and Nathan Fuller all won matches. Patrick Spray placed fourth. Ralph Bennett and Bo Thompson won state champs. Skills USA competed at UW Stout last Friday and displayed a very good showing. Lincoln placed third in automotive technology and carpentry, second in house wiring. So.
Excellent.
Thanks for a busy week last week.
Yeah.
Thank you. Next, we'll move on to minutes.
Okay, I would make a motion that we approve the regular Board of Education meeting minutes of February 9th and the special Board of Education meeting closed session minutes of February 24th.
Second.
Okay, motion is second to approve the regular Board of Education meeting minutes from February 9th and the special Board of Education closed session meeting minutes of February 24th. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Mary. Next, we'll move on to comments. Is there anything tonight, Marie?
No.
Okay. Committee reports. Business Services, Jeff?
Thank you, John. We called the meeting to order on March 2nd at 6 o'clock. There was no public comment, and we did have consent agenda item this month. We had audit services contract for approval. The audit services for the 2014, 2015, 16, and 2016, 17 school years at a cost of $18,475, $19,025, and $19,575 respectively. These were a bit lower than the original numbers that we had, so we're pleased with that. I move that we recommend this for approval to the board.
Second.
Okay, motion is second to approve BS1. Any roll call on that? We'll have roll call on that, please, Marie.
Mrs. Medina?
Yes.
Mr. Bevel?
Yes.
Mr. Cranes?
Yes.
Mrs. Head?
Yes.
Mrs. Rail?
Yes.
Then the balance of our updates and reports is we had purchase and review of the quarterly police liaison officer billing. We also had some floor wax removal from janitorial supplies from CTL. And with that, our meeting adjourned at 6:02, so I submit the balance of our meeting for approval.
Second.
Okay, motion is second to approve the meeting minutes from the Business Service Committee of March 2nd, 2015. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, John. Next, we'll go to personnel. Sandy?
Personnel Services met last Monday, March 2nd. There was no public comment at that meeting. From that meeting, we have 3 consent agenda items, and they are as follows. Number 1, the committee recommends and I move to approve the 4 professional staff early retirements, and these 4 are with retirement benefits. And the committee also recommends and I move to approve the 1 professional staff early retirement without benefits.
I'll second.
I can read it?
Yeah, just do them all.
Okay.
I understand. Who's going to do the rest?
I can't remember. Spring. Secondly, the committee recommends and I move to approve the 2 professional staff resignations. And these 2 resignations have paid what do you call that?
Liquidated
Liquidated
damages.
damages, thank you. And third, the committee recommends and I move to approve the one support staff resignation. Does anybody want anything held out?
Then I'll second it, okay?
Okay, motion is second to approve PS 1, 2, and 3. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried.
And with that, I move that the minutes be approved as printed.
Second.
Okay, motion is second to approve the Personnel Service Committee meeting minutes of March 2nd, 2015. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Sandy. Ed Services, I believe Mary's going to give the report tonight.
Right, I'll do that, thanks, John. Ed Services Committee met on March 2nd, 2015. There were 5 consent agenda items. Does anyone want anyone called out?
4.
Okay, I'll hold up. Mark, if I don't mark, I'm gonna forget. Yes. Okay, committee recommends and I move to approve ES1. Modifications and policies related to high school graduation are necessary to reflect changes in Wisconsin state statute and recent Board of Education decisions. Motion and a second to approve the suggested revisions to Board Policy 345.5, graduation requirements for first reading, including the elimination of Policy 345.51 and 345.51A. ES2, as a result of moving to a trimester schedule at Lincoln High School, it's necessary to modify language in Board Policy 345.52, early graduation. Motion and a second to approve the suggested revisions to Board Policy 345.52, early graduation for first reading. ES3, due to recommended changes in board policies related to graduation and course options, several other policies are impacted and require minor revisions. There was a motion and second to approve the suggested revisions to Board Policy 420, admission of transfer students, and Board Policy 420, school admissions for first reading. And ES5, changes are being recommended to Board Policy 412, full-time students, to better define requirements necessary to be considered a full-time student at each level, elementary, junior high, middle, and high school. And there was a motion and a second to approve the suggested revisions to Board Policy 412, full-time students for first reading. Great. Okay, so with that, I need a second.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion and second to approve ES 1, 2, 3, and 5. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried.
Okay, then ES4 was, due to the recommended changes in board policy of graduation and course options, Board Policy 343.4, course options program requires a minor revision that will allow administration some discretion when working with transfer credits. And this, there was a motion and a second to approve the suggested revisions to Board Policy 343.4, course options program for first reading. Sandy?
I still have the same problem with that I had before, and I'm just being consistent in my voting.
Okay. So,
And I don't disagree with her, I have a problem with it too, it's just, I didn't vote no against the policy because we had to have a policy no matter what, but I still think course options, I don't know if everybody knows the details on course options, it was thrown in the last budget bill, unauthored, apparently, nobody knows who authored it, nobody knows who put it in the budget bill, but it was there along with, there was one other one that was stuck in there with some funding that nobody knows about, but it's very confusing and it's very almost against the whole thing of what our K-12 mission is to educate K-12. We're not supposed to educate 13 to 14, which youth options and course options now basically entitle these students to be educated beyond 12th grade, even though by state statute, we are to educate K-12 and make them good citizens for the next steps. So to have these continually dropped on us with no funding, I think is wrong, and I agree with Sandy. It's just wrong to have this stuff keep throwing at us for higher education, and then nothing ever comes back to us as far as any money back to offset those costs.
can I make a motion?
Go ahead.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve ES4. Second.
Okay, motion is second to approve ES 4. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay, then next we had updates under therapy dogs. Andrew Miller, EBD teacher at Meade Elementary Charter, and his certified therapy dog driver were present to share with the Ed Services Committee how driver is used in the building. Driver is at school on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday to help build students' self-confidence and behavioral control. Because driver is an EBD special education, because he is in an EBD special education classroom, he also helps students maintain a consistent level of emotional well-being. Mr. Miller has seen improvements in student behavior when driver is in his classroom. And we're fortunate to have them here again this evening, and they're going to share so that our viewing public can see what driver does at Meade, and we're really happy to have you, and we'll welcome you if you want to have the floor. And also his wife Melissa is with him.
Oh, thanks.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Mom and Dad.
Mom and Dad, right. Oh, Grandma and Grandpa are in the audience too.
The driver's really excited.
Yeah, he's a little pumped about
Get
that.
them to-
I have him around. Thanks.
Is he gonna make a speech?
He might. Alright, let's see. See if I can do this. Actually, you hold him for a minute until I. That works. Alright. Well, again, thank you again for inviting me to come and speak with all of you about this and about this project that I've been working on this year. Just for some people who weren't here before, I heard about this story. My first job out of college, I was working at the DC River School Forest, working with their 4th grade program and their 5th grade program. And one of the teachers in that district brought their dog to school with her. And she noticed a lot of help that the dog provided in keeping her students calm during class time, during exams. The dog would freely roam the room, and during a test, sometimes would just go and put their head on a student's lap who was struggling through the test, and just really helped keep her students calm and help them out through the day. So I guess we'll kind of keep going, if this works. There we go, got turned on. Maybe. Did it come? Alright. Yeah.
Is that,
Yeah,
You want me to
that's
just-
true.
just let
I
me know
don't
when.
have to do that, but.
I don't mind. It's something I can do.
Alright, so one of the first things is, what is a therapy dog? They are dogs who go with their owners, and it's certified teams, so right now it's really just me and driver. Melissa isn't certified with him because she hasn't done the therapy dog test through Therapy Dogs International. They go visit hospitals, hospice, nursing homes. I'm working on the summer, hopefully going and working with Northwest Journey, the day treatment program here in town, to visit once a week during the summer if we can get it to work out. A thing to keep in mind is they're not service dogs. They don't have the special privileges that service dogs have to go into any public building without permission. It's just not, they're not trained to that high level as the service dogs. Yeah.
Next slide.
Yep, next. So I did this as part of my master's degree action research class, and I wanted to study. I have 15 kids with emotional behavioral disabilities, and it can be rough. They can go from throwing things, hitting me, hitting other people, and I wanted to see if having a dog in class would help out, help keep them calm, and then help them be successful not just in my room, but in their general ed room. That's our ultimate goal, is to get them there. So hopefully, I was hoping to see with driver that he'd keep them calm and help us out. You can click, I think, 3 times. Alright, so going after that, I was doing research, finding things about what other people have done and their findings. Students were reporting that they felt more comfortable in school. Those dogs would sometimes give them a sense of control that they don't have anywhere else. Mom and dad, teachers, all run their lives, and they have no control over really anything in their life. So they actually have some control with the dog, teaching them tricks, asking, telling him to come and read with them. And people were finding that dogs were more, or that the students were more aware of the dog's feelings than they were of people around them. They just had that connection, that understanding. Next slide. Oh, okay, there's like 4 or 5 clicks. So dogs provide that unconditional love. You can wait right there for now. Unless they give you unless you give them a reason for them to not like you, they're gonna love you no matter what. They'll, you give them a little spot on the nose for something. He knows he did something wrong, but he's gonna come back and love you. They're very calming for many people. Not everyone, but many people. They help keep them calm. They can build a very unique relationship with you. It's amazing the connection that the kids have. And it helps satisfy some needs. So we all have these basic needs that will get clicked up there. There's like 4 or 5. So 1, 2, I think that one. All right. So we all have. This didn't work. I think I did turn it off. Yeah. So we all have our basic needs that we need. Our food, shelter, water, air, being able to sleep. We get that. Not all kids get it at home. We try to provide that at school. But we get that. Safety and security. Again, we try to provide that at school. And again, not always at home. And then this is where the dogs come in, with the love and belonging, the friendship that they have, the connections that they get. It's, in my room, I try to build that we're a family as best we can, and we have our family dog, I guess you can call it, and a sense of connection that they can feel towards somebody else or another living animal. So, and then self-esteem, the confidence that has been built with some of my students, and for teaching him a new trick. One of my kids taught him how to crawl. It's quite an interesting thing to see. Maybe I'll get a chance to do that. Another kid's trying to teach him to limp. I mean, the achievement, the self-confidence that they feel when they are successful in teaching a living thing something new, and all positive training. We don't hit him, we don't do anything. It's always positive encouragement. If he does it right, we tell him. If he does it wrong, we try again. And that's what I try with my students. We can move on. So, just a little bit about Meeting Driver. He's a golden doodle. Right now he's almost 2. He'll be 2 in May. So he's still a puppy. He's still got that puppy energy, that excitement. So he's going to mellow out a lot more, and he's already pretty mellow. Some of the things that we did, he's, like I said, I'm certified with Therapy Dogs International. That costs me $30 a year. And that includes, when I'm out volunteering, liability coverage for me and when I'm traveling to places. Also, since I'm at school working, they don't cover me. So I applied with, got liability coverage through FIDO. It's the federally insured dog owners. That costs me about $250 a year. I'm paying that out of pocket. And that gives me, I think, $10,000 or $100,000 in liability coverage. We've done 2 obedience classes through the Wisconsin Rapids Kennel Club. The puppy kindergarten, that's mostly for the adults. I don't know, even the basic obedience, that's for the humans. Teaching them what they need to do. It's not so much for the dogs. So we did the puppy kindergarten, the basic obedience, and then the therapy dog prep class that helps prep you for the therapy dog test. We visited the Rapids Mall, walked around and met other people, so they got used to meeting people in different situations. We went to Strawberry Lane and met people there. And then we took the Therapy Dogs International test. All 3 of the classes were paid for through a grant from the Advocates of WRPS. They paid me $295 for the classes, which added up to $210, and then $85 for like a kennel and a bed for my classroom. Any duplicate items that I would have had at home and have been not feasible to transfer back and forth. And then, that was it? Yeah, you can go to the next one. So part of my action research project is I did my best to keep track of the behaviors in my classroom and the amount of times that it was happening and the length of time, just so I could see if it helped. And before he was coming, I was having, this is just one student, 60 minutes a day, 45 minutes a day, 30 minutes a day of him. He was basically running around the building, running around my classroom, and you can't get close to him. The minute you get close, he starts running some more. And then when Driver was here, he was pretty drawn to him. He was one where right after lunch I took Driver out for a walk, came back in, Mrs. Dorhorst was on her way to my room, and he was pushing stuff, throwing stuff, yelling at us, and it can take 30, 40 minutes for him to calm down. And here I said, you have a choice. Driver can go in his kennel. When students aren't safe, he goes in his kennel, or he can come by you, but you need to be safe. And he said, put him in his kennel. So I started bringing him over and gave him the choice one more time. And he chose, I want Driver out. So I gave him the direction, you need to be sitting in a chair and be calm. He sat down, that was 3 minutes versus 30. Just that change. And that allowed me to get closer to him, to work with him, to help him calm in other ways that I know helps him calm, but I need to be close to him in order to do it. So just that change right there is worth it. And we can click through too, because this is one more table. Again, just the changes in the students. This student probably has the biggest connection to him because he's in my room the most often. So a lot of reduction there with what is escalation. So you can go ahead and click one more. I bring Driver to school 3 days a week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Wish I could have those work hours, but the student, in order to for the students to work with him, or for him to be by them while they're working, they have to demonstrate that they're ready to work. They have to be at their seat. They have to have their supplies. And then I'm willing to bring his bed over by him, or walk over and sit next to them and bring him over. Again, they must demonstrate safe actions. If they come in mad, they're mad, that's fine. But they can't be violent. They can't be slamming doors. They can't be pushing chairs around. Otherwise, he goes in his kennel, he's very quick at going in. Even the other day, he heard a chair get thrown, he went right in. I didn't have to say anything. And my other students who aren't having a problem at the time, they are very quick. If I'm the only adult in the room, they are very quick to go and close that kennel for me. They are looking out for Driver. They are looking to protect him. So again, that bond that they have has been amazing. Can you use the next one? 3 clicks then. Alright, so one thing in the center picture, dog's got to go outside. So I have 2 leashes on him. The students get to take the lead leash. They walk in the heel position with him, he walks right along beside them, and then I hold the second leash behind. I always have that control over him, but he's very good. I put his collar on and it really makes him want to walk right next to us, so that helps. But it's teaching him that responsibility of dog ownership, of, yeah, it's cold out, we need to go. So even if it's really cold, I'll go by myself, but demonstrate that to the kids that it's cold, it's rainy, we still have to take him out. We owe that to him. On the left-hand side, students just love to read. If I can't get them to do anything else, if they sit down and read to him for 3 hours, they're safe, they're doing some learning, they're practicing their reading, and it works, it helps. Sometimes they are mad, and on the far right-hand side, they need to take a little bit of a break. That kid wouldn't do it at that time. I said, hey, Driver, watch. You show him how you can take a break. And he sat right down. He was grumpy about it, but he sat right down. Driver was watching him, so he wanted to do it. And then walks. There were a couple times somebody's just outside my room or whatever, and they're not ready to come in. I'll grab them, Say, hey, grab driver's leash, let's just follow where he goes. By golly, he sure knows how to get to my classroom very quickly. Shortest distance, he helps them get there. So that's the walks in quotation marks. So we can go on to the next slide. What I found, it helps. He helps call my students. He helps them be more successful. They are very responsive to him, positively responsive to him. And the escalations have decreased. Not always. He's not a cure-all, but he's a tool. He helps. And there's a lot going on with 15 kids to keep them all safe, all as successful as we can in the classroom. He's a tool that has been very beneficial this year. And it helps the staff. After school, sometimes I'll all walk around and they are very excited to see him. Or before school, they want to just drive here, can I come pet him real quick before we get going? So the staff love having him here too.
Can I add, just even when we bring them in the morning, kids, I mean like the kids in the school know him, and so they get out of their cars on the way to school and they say, driver, good morning driver, hi driver, and he's really become a part of our staff. And it's been very, very cool to see.
He gets more greetings than we do.
You also need to tell him how I got his name.
Oh,
Yes, that's right. Good, do you want
you can tell that story.
All right, so my favorite Packer is Donald Driver. And when we were thinking about a name for a puppy, I went to AJ and I said, what do you think about the name Driver? And he's like, oh, okay. So we named him Driver, and a couple of years ago, I had the opportunity to meet Donald. And so when I went up to him, I got to shake his hand, and I told him, because I only had 20 seconds, I said, my dog is named after you. And he just looks at me like, oh, okay. See ya.
So, one thing, I thought about having him do this for the whole presentation, but it would be really mean. The teacher, kind of teaching the kids some self-control. And that driver needs to have self-control. And talking about listening. And I asked the kids, why does driver have to listen to me? Why does he have to listen to me the first time? And my main thing there is safety. If he jumps out of the car quick, yes, I know. Just wait. He needs to listen. He needs to come the first time. And that's what I tell the kids too. The main reason we have rules for you, safety. We need to know that you are safe. That's my #1 job here at school, is to keep you safe. So, quick thing on self-control that the kids love to see. The kids get to do this with them too. I probably could have done it. Through the whole presentation, it would have been just fine, but the floor would have been probably pretty wet. And I show this to the kids. We've done this for a couple minutes, and he'll stand there and wait until I say that he can, that he's allowed to. Even sometimes I say he's allowed to, he doesn't. So we'll have to see. Okay. So, I'll show you guys the walk or the crawl really quick. So sit down. Crawl. Yeah, that's good enough. Boy. So, I think that's the last slide. Oh no, there's one more slide after that. So, some future stuff that I would like to do. Like I said, Melissa isn't ready to bring him in, but we want him to get into a general ed room. I would love to get him into a general ed room. I'm doing my job, that's where my students are. So if I'm leaving the room, he's in his kennel. And his kennel at school is a lot smaller than his kennel at home. And that's, I feel, not fair to him. If he's doing his job, he's helping. I'd love to be able to take him with me to the different rooms. All the teachers on my floor are like, when can driver come to my classroom? When can he come in with you? Not yet, he can't. You have to be in, he can only be in my room working with my students. Beginning right after spring break, we have the walking school bus at Meade, and one day a week I'm going to walk on a different route with the students. I haven't heard a whole lot about how many students we're working with, but Tuesday mornings after spring break I'll be walking with the walking school bus. Was hoping to, but didn't get to it, so hopefully next year working more with the Boys and Girls Club. The after school Boys and Girls Club we have at Meade, letting kids read to him or sit down and do their homework with him. Zach at the Boys and Girls Club was all about it, and we're trying to get that working for next year. Again, school permission to be able to be in different classrooms too. So it's not just a special ed tool, but to help out others. And then to share conferences, we have the Innovative Institute coming up in June at Meade, and so I'll present there just to share this with other people. And then the very last one is a website that I found out about doing some research after we had gotten driver. There was a husband and wife, a special ed teacher, and a second grade teacher. I mean, it was freaky how close it was. And they had a dog at their school. And this one was trained a little bit more. Ended up being, I can't remember what they called it, more of a working dog. But when they bought it, it came with a liability policy with it. It was used and trained more for some OT, occupational therapy uses, other things like that. So then I looked at that website. If I want to do it again when he can't do it anymore, that might be something I look at. Take a little bit of a different route. The puppies come, or the dogs, kind of come to you at a year old. They spend their first year of life working with inmates at a prison, training them, doing that really intensive training and socializing. So that's something I would look into more if the funding is not prohibitive of it. So, any questions?
So being the golden doodle, there's not the shedding, and there's
Not
not
as
the
much.
allergy
Not as much.
with the kids, or very minimal?
Very minimal. I have allergies, and I get when I go to a friend's house who has a dog, I can tell he doesn't bother me. I combed his ears out a little bit last night, and it got me a little tickly, but nowhere near what would happen.
And then does every child in your classroom that comes in contact with driver, their parents
Yes,
sign something that say that this is okay to work with him?
yes. There's can't remember. It's in
Okay.
300. No, that's the board policy. I mean, there's a board
Okay.
policy with the animal allergy stuff that I sent home, and I had to get every sheet back before I could bring them again. And when I added a couple kids on, thankfully they were really quick in sending back those slips that you didn't miss a day. I meant to add the rules into here that we came up with, but before he came in, the students came up with rules of always washing your hands afterwards, always gentle hands with him, no feeding him human food, sharing him 2 or 3 kids at a time. I can't remember some of the other ones, but I meant to add that in, forgot. So they have the rules and they all signed it, and they need to follow it. If they don't follow it, they lose them. And if it's a particularly rough day, he goes home. Call my brother-in-law or call grandma or grandpa, and they come and get him. So, and they know, and he leaves, the kids know, like, yeah, we screwed up. He can't be here anymore. So they know it's a privilege. Or taking him for walks after, with us outside is a privilege.
Our grandkids, I don't know what age you're talking about, but they sit on him and they kind of put their elbow on his head, and do you get some of that, or?
Some, yeah, but I'm always with them. I said, that's not okay. You can, they'll come, he'll be on a beanbag, they'll lay his head kind of on his back leg and just snuggle up with them. I always tell them, you gotta come from the front. And they're learning too, like if he doesn't like it, and he pulls away, I tell him, that's his way of showing him, yeah, I don't really want that right now. And they'll listen. They're pretty respectful to him. No major concerns with that.
Good.
Continues to amaze me the new and innovative ways our staffs come up with things to help our students. Thank you. Your students are very lucky to have you working with them. They can obviously better focus when they can stay calm and stay on task. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, I echo it. I was talking to somebody today, and they were talking about public schools and, how do you keep doing it? This person actually was a real supporter of public schools, and I said, well, one thing, I said, our staff, we keep cutting and cutting, and they keep coming up with ways to do it, so the public doesn't realize how much we really are cutting, because you guys keep doing it no matter what. So, we don't want you to stop, though, we appreciate it.
Thank you.
And good luck getting them all the classrooms. That'd be awesome.
Yes.
A new mascot for Meade Elementary.
He's in the yearbook.
Well, thank you so much for coming
Thank
in,
you.
we really appreciate
Thank you
it.
for inviting me in.
All right. Okay, On to the rest of our updates. Our next one was student travel. Travel opportunities to France and Japan for East Junior High and Lincoln High School world language students will occur during the summer of 2015. And also there were no youth option requests submitted for the fall of 2015. So with that, I move to approve the Services Committee meeting minutes of March 2nd, 2015.
Second.
Okay, motion is second to approve the Educational Services Committee meeting minutes of March 2nd, 2015. A special thank you to Millers and Driver. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Mary. Next, we'll move on to agenda referrals, information requests. Anybody have anything this month? Okay. But legislative agenda. Mary, do you have anything?
Oh, I have some good news.
Really?
Please.
That was kind of sarcastic. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Sheldon, that was sarcasm.
Yeah, I'll just read a little bit of the legislative update from WASB this month. The first one was a data pause bill introduced, data pause to create a one-year delay in the use of state assessment data for school report cards and educator effectiveness. We'll receive a public hearing next Tuesday. The bill prohibits DPI from issuing a school accountability report for the 2014-2015 school year and delays the requirement that school boards evaluate the effectiveness of teachers and principals until the 2015-2016 school year. Under the bill, school boards are permitted but not required to evaluate teachers and principals in the school district in the 2014-15 school year. So I guess we'll see where that goes. Next one, 98 private, non-sectarian, and religious schools and school systems registered by the February 2nd deadline to accept students for the 2015-16 school year through the statewide voucher program. Of those, 31 private are continuing from the 2014-15 school year, and 36 are new private schools applying to participate for the first time. An additional 31 schools that currently participate in the Milwaukee or Racine voucher program signed up to participate in the statewide program for the first time. The nonpartisan Legislative Fiscal Bureau analysis of the proposed 2015-17 state budget confirms that per pupil payments to private voucher schools for most students in the state's 3 voucher programs will increase by $170 over the biennium, while public schools will see a net decrease of $130 in per pupil aid. Given the proposed revenue limit freeze for public schools, private voucher schools will be able to increase their budgets by $170 per pupil over the 2-year period covered by the proposed state budget, while public schools will be able to increase their budgets over current spending levels by only $20 per pupil. Also, a new bill, Senate Bill 32, to shift the emphasis of the Student Achievement Guarantee in Education, which is our SAGE program, from small class sizes to achievement gap reduction was heard in the Senate Education Committee. WASB testified in support based on the adoption of Resolution 1515 at the 2015 WASB Delegate Assembly. Under the bill, a school could meet its obligations under SAGE by using one of 3 strategies or a combination of these strategies, such as one-to-one tutoring provided by a licensed teacher, instructional coaching for teachers provided by a licensed teacher, or maintaining 18-to-1 or 30-to-2 classroom ratios and providing professional development on small group instruction. A school need not meet the 18-to-1 or 30-to-2 classroom ratios. A school need not meet the 18-to-1 or 30-to-2 classroom ratios, all participating grades under the bill in order to receive funding. The revised version of the School Accountability Assembly Bill 1 is expected soon from the State Assembly, and WASB is hearing reports of what that rewrite might contain. The bill will almost certainly retain provisions that spell out certain sanctions for low-performing schools and allow for the use of multiple assessments to measure student and school performance. Let's see, the state budget is now in the hands of the legislature. It's very important to contact your legislators with your concerns. Let's see, I think there was one more. Oh, the other one I just wanted to, this was under food for thought. The governor, and this is from Tony Evers, the governor's budget freezes revenue caps and actually cuts state aid to local schools in the first year. It really is a legacy of less for our kids. We must insist on a robust public dialogue about our constitutional guarantees to our children. So, that's that.
John, back up to the agenda referrals amount.
Yeah.
Since we have, I was thinking we could bring it up later, but we didn't have, we're calling it best there, is that before our board consortium meeting, at maybe the regular board meeting next, on April 13th, that maybe under new business, we have a discussion about any of the legislative things or anything we might want to bring up at the consortium meeting, as far as whether we want to make a resolution or if we want to do anything in that form, depending on what the legislation is at that time. Do some advocacy maybe.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Thank you for your report, Mary.
I just want to say, I have watched, I can't tell you how many hours of Wisconsin Eye in the last week.
Frustrating,
You know,
isn't it?
very frustrating. These people come before it. There's just no reaction. It's, the way I read it, the minds are made up, you know, and they're going to do what they're going to do, come or high water. It's just so disheartening. You know, we're supposed to go down and meet with our legislators, you know, and advocate for public education. But they're not going to listen. They know what they're going to do now. I just don't know what we're going to do. I think it's going to have to be something from the parents that become outraged at what's happening to public education. Exactly with this, you know, proposed budget. Ridiculous. So I just, if you don't have anything else to do, watch Wisconsin Eye.
No, that'll raise your blood pressure and put you over the edge.
I think the legacy of less is a good term. That's what we're getting.
And like Katie said once, these kids don't get a do-over, you know? They're in 4th grade this year. If, you know, we're cutting everything, they don't get to make up that 4th grade. They're on to 5th grade. They've lost something in that year.
Hope the future holds more promise. Okay, next can we move on to bills?
Okay, I would make a motion that the receipts be noted and the bills be paid as printed.
Second.
Okay, motion is second that the receipts be noted and bills paid as printed. Maureen, could we please have a roll call?
Mrs. Head?
Yes.
Mr. Bembo?
Yes.
Mrs. Medina?
Yes.
Mr. Davis?
Yes.
Mrs. Rayo?
Yes.
Mr. Krings?
Yes. Thank you, Maureen. Next, we'll move on to new business. The first item, possible action on employee appointments, resignations, and retirement requests. Anything come through, right? Okay. Move on to item B, update on plans to host events at the Performing Arts Center to educate students and community members on the rise of heroin use in our area.
The Riverview Health Foundation and the Wisconsin Rapids Police Department, along with Assumption Catholic Schools and our school district, have been working to bring a group called Rise Together into the district to speak to our kids about addiction, about the dangers of addiction and dangers of increasing use of drugs in our community, in particular heroin. This particular organization is spoken at Marshfield Public Schools. It's spoken in Nakusa and all around the state. They're actually folks from the Valley area who have dealt with drug addiction themselves and are recovering, or parents of children that they have unfortunately lost due to drugs. A number of us went over to Wapaka last week to see the presentation. It's very impactful, very powerful, and our plan is to bring the group in March 23rd and 24th. They'll be speaking on the 23rd to area 6th, 7th, 8th, and some 9th graders. And they'll be speaking on the 24th to area 9th through 12th graders. And on the evening of the 24th, there will be a presentation for community and parents, so parents know what to look for, what the concerns are, and that will be at the PAC beginning at 6:30 that Tuesday night. It's been just a real honor to get to work with the police department, the hospital, Assumption Catholic Schools on this. We also will have Emmanuel Lutheran School joining us, and possibly Auburndale School District, I'm not sure yet. So the other thing to note, and I maybe said this already, I apologize if I did, but that the hospital foundation is paying for this. So they're supporting this, and they feel that strongly that parents understand and that kids understand the dangers of this issue.
Thank you. Sounds like a good event. Okay, next, possible action to approve district technology purchases.
Well, maybe I don't have to use the mic. My voice is somewhat coming back, but
The attorney has to.
Is it on?
It's on. Come on, technology guy.
It's very dirty.
There you go.
Okay, I think a handout to you in front of you, it's got some quotes on it and so forth, a little verbiage. I think Colleen had some write-up in the board update as well, but basically, I didn't bring this last week at the business services one. I was gone at a conference, actually trying to negotiate a good price for these, and I was successful in doing so. But last year, we updated a couple of our elementary schools' computer labs to get rid of Windows XP, and this year we need to kind of finish that process at the remaining elementary schools, a lab at Rams, and then there's a small pocket of computers here at East Junior High in the tech ed labs that we need to kind of get over to Windows 7. So I guess we need to purchase about 190 computers, 182 monitors. The reason we have to buy monitors is because the machines we're replacing are all-in-one machines. They're Mac all-in-ones. It's got the computer and the monitor built in one. You can't reuse the monitor, unfortunately, so we need to buy monitors. The only reason we're buying 182 is because Tech Ed actually has 8 monitors they can reuse. So we don't have to buy monitors for those, but we do need to buy a new computer for them. So I guess that's the gist of it. We really need to eliminate the Windows XP. The machines are 8 years old, going on 9, and they really need to be upgraded for our computing infrastructure to be solid for student learning and, of course, assessment, at least this year anyway, but not sure what will happen next year. So the computers, we got a quote from Bytespeed. We've been buying our desktop computers from Bytespeed since 2007. Kind of a preferred vendor, that's why I don't have any other quotes on that. But I do have 3 quotes on the monitors, one from CDWG, one from SHI, and then also one from Bytespeed. And CDWG came in at the lowest price for 22-inch monitors. We're going with the 22-inch to make that screen size big for testing, and we didn't go with 24 because we don't have physically enough room to do 24s in the labs, so we're going to go with 22-inch. I guess, any questions?
What size do you have now?
Right now they're 20-inch monitors. Yeah.
I don't have a question, but I think it's important to note, there's 2 notes to this upgrade. One is XP is no longer supported.
Correct.
And 2 is that the testing requires us, even if XP wasn't supported, we probably could have used it, but due to the testing, we have to have Windows 7 for testing to work.
Yeah, Windows XP is no longer supported by Microsoft, so what we're seeing happen is a lot of the software applications that we use, this is the last year those applications are supporting Windows XP, so next year those programs won't work on Windows XP, and we have to make that switch for that reason as well. Also, other programs like Chrome browser, Internet Explorer, the new versions in Internet Explorer don't work on Windows XP anymore because of safety concerns. So it's not just the testing, but that's a big driver of it.
Well, exactly, and the monitor size too, because we talked to business services that, or even at the last board meeting, that because the testing is all on computers and you have to have the ability to scroll some of the smaller screens, were a little frustrating for students.
Yeah, the bigger screen is going to be better.
Yeah, so they could put up 2 side-by-side pages.
I would move we recommend the purchase of 190 computers from Bytespeed Computers at a cost of $95,000, and the purchase of 182 22-inch monitors from CDWG, total of $21,994, a little bit of month change, be funded from the district technology budget, common school fund budget, East Junior High Technology Education Bus budget, and the district technology referendum budget.
Second.
Okay, motion is second to approve the administration's recommendation of the purchase of 190 computers from Bytespeed at a total cost of $95,000, and the purchase of 182 22-inch monitors from CDWG at a total cost of $21,994.70. And that's going to be funded from the district technology budget, common school fund budget, East Junior High Technology Education budget, and the district technology referendum budget. Could you please have a roll call on that?
Mrs. Head?
Yes.
Mrs. Rayle? Yes. Mr. Krings?
Yes.
Mr. Bembo?
Yes.
Mrs. Medina?
Yes.
Mr. Davis?
Yes.
So yes, does this deplete the referendum technology budget now, or we still have some funds left? Frugal. Yeah.
Thanks, Phil. Okay, we'll do a little calendar review here. We have a special closed session meeting when we're done here tonight. On the 17th, Sandy and Mary and I will be meeting for a salary committee meeting. We have 2 closed session meetings next Wednesday, the 18th. And just a reminder, from the 30th to the 3rd, there's no school due to spring break. So with that, we're adjourned. Thank you, everyone.